What can we do to counter involuntary behaviors? All right, that is a question for this episode here on my channel. Welcome. I'm Thomas. I do educational videos on many different subjects. Right now we're focusing on this tree of life. And the tree of life we focus on first because it's fundamental. It's a great fount of understanding for the whole it's a theory of everything. It can be used for everything, but it also is great in terms of being a foundation that you can use for other subjects. So it helps you organize and prioritize and recall and access other subjects. So when we get into the other subjects, the tree of life, if we can become fluent in tree of life, it will help us immensely to learn these other subjects, some of which are pretty hard. And so it'll be a good thing, and it'll repay us for our trouble right now. What we're doing is 144 different separate videos on the various aspects of the tree of life. And right now we're about to do number 21. And now, if you want background information, an introduction to the Tree of Life, watch my video, Tree of Life, a short introduction, or Tree of Life, an introduction, and that should kind of get you up to speed. This video will lack that introduction, so we're just going to go right into it here with the tree. We're at number 21. And this here is, number 21 is within the ninth sphere. Now, so you remember the ninth sphere has to do with heightened receptivity, or what's called mediumistic trance. It also has to do with the learning cycle. Basically, this is the domestic sphere. This is what you get in the home when you're growing up. And you basically are being nurtured by your parents or your caretakers, and you have a devotion to them, and you're very easily influenced by them. You stare at them, and you eventually imitate what they do, and then you practice that. You repeat it over and over again until you memorize it. So that is really what goes on at the ninth sphere. It's a process of heightened receptivity, and then imitation, repetition, and then memorization. And then within the ninth sphere, because what we do is we take the whole tree, boil it down, shrink it down, and then apply it to each one of the spheres. So we have a whole tree that you can imagine right here. And within this tree, we're talking here about the third sphere. So this is the third fractal of the ninth sphere. And the third sphere has to do with omnipotence, all-powerful. It has to do with mantra, chanting mantra over and over in order to unleash potential. So, and your potential is really your ability to achieve your higher calling in life. And so those are the, and so this is an unleashing of power. And so that is within the ninth sphere. So those are the two things that are combined to go into this particular fractal. It is called the recapitulation. Stage number 21 is about doing deep psychological work to uncover all of the past events that are restricting us from having full agency in our lives. Look to childhood trauma to identify the sources of our involuntary muscle contractions. A simple example is an intense food dislike. The histrionic Mr. Yuck face is an example of a face we make when recalling the liver or the asparagus that we were force-fed by our parents. This Mr. Yuck face or other overreactive gestures never left us. After the trigger left us traumatized at a young age. Memory of the gesture's origin was buried over time after the event, after the trauma. So now it is involuntary. To solve this, we need deep self-analysis for self-detraumatization. We must bring ourselves back to that childhood traumatic moment. But now, in adulthood, we have much more wherewithal to process that memory in a way that makes sense, a conceptual, closely associated memory. To start, remember and relive the earliest times we manifested each specific behavior. Take our time and use a pen and paper, not a computer, to write out all of our energetic interactions in our whole life, and then all interactions with each person. A difficult task, but needed to dredge up all the long buried events that are unknowingly affecting us. The list enables us to analyze all energetic interactions we've had with everyone ever. First, we go through the list, combined with rhythmic breathing, to flash back, way back. Going through the list, we will eventually trigger the right contexts. Go back in time and ask, am I experiencing this doyle, this involuntary muscle contraction? If yes, go further back and ask again until we find ourselves reliving those primitive memories. They're coming back whole from under the rug, from where they were festering, from where they were honeycombed in our fractured personality. Regression sessions got to go back, way back, to when we were not experiencing this involuntary muscle contraction. This puts the previously unresolved event back into our experience so that we can live it again and therefore remember it again. But now, unlike at the time of the event, we have a fully developed conceptual memory rather than the pure association of the amygdala. As a result, the event can be placed into our conceptual memory for proper filing and storage, for resolution, for digesting, sorting, and turning into bits or concepts. The event that had been stored in our amygdala is now in our conceptual memory and can be released from the amygdala, getting rid of the involuntary muscle contractions. Recapitulation reshapes our behavior and belief. Success in recapitulation frees up a lot of energy and a lot of potential. This is a very difficult practice, but just keep trying and be persistent because it works for de-traumatizing our memory, for defractionating the psyche, and for integrating alter personalities. It helps make us whole again and helps us regain agency over our lives. Okay, that is number 21, recapitulation, the third fractal of the ninth sphere. And a lot of that information comes from the Carlos Castaneda books, also from this guy named Doyle Henderson, his science called Doyletics, other sources as well. It's a very difficult process and a difficult practice, but even if you do it piecemeal, you will see some progress that you make in beginning to deal with a lot of the involuntary muscle contractions that we have had kind of our whole lives. Okay, now thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Please press the like button. You can also subscribe to the channel, share the video with others. You can make constructive comments in the comment section. You can get my free copy of the 144 Fractal Faculties, which goes through the whole list of all these videos that I'm doing here. And it just kind of puts it all in one place, so you kind of have a program or a scorecard for moving forward. You can just click the link in the description. I'll send that to you for free. And you can also donate directly to me through Cash App and Venmo. I'll be doing video number 22 here coming up fairly shortly, so stay tuned for that. And otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful day.